All right, you pledges. So you want to join our fraternity, Sigma Killer Alpha Podcast Pi? Well, we just can't let anybody in. You must pass our rigorous initiation process. You are about to prove your loyalty to our brotherhood with the most challenging test you have ever experienced. Are you ready, pledge?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Is Attack of the Killer Podcast your favorite podcast of all time?
Yes.
All right, you're in. Bro horror on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 That's time for the show. Yay.
Well, aloha, bros. It's time to rock another Attack of the Killer Podcast. This is going to be an extreme episode because this is episode 267 and we're going to be talking about brodacious movies about bros. Hey, what do you call a zebra who joins a fraternity?
What's that?
A zebro. Yeah, high five. If this is your first time checking out our show, don't worry. I don't normally talk like this. Attack of the Killer Podcast is a horror movie podcast where a group of bros get together with a topic and some brewskis, and we talk about movies within that topic. We speak openly and freely, so there may be spoilers, yo. I can't do it anymore. If you would like to help support the show, you can by going to our site, jointheattackers.com. Pick the tier you'd like to donate to. Do it. Because when you donate, you become
Do it.
an attacker. An attacker is a special type of fan of the show that becomes part of basically the Attack of the Killer podcast family. And it gets you tons of extra content, too. You get videos, bonus episodes, membership cards, stickers, certificate. You can get a shirt. You can even get original art by me from my Mikey's Monsters series. You can get a VIP pass to special events, such as our monthly horror hangout that we do on Skype once a month. There's so much content that you can get. I'm not going to go through it all of them right now. I do that all the time.
At the bro level, we can touch tips.
That's right. So check it out for yourself at jointheattackers.com and become an official attacker today. And now I'd like you to meet my special bros. It's the podcast crew, y'all. He asked the fraternity brothers for a pamphlet or something about his chapter, and the guy said, bro, sure. Andy, everybody.
Hey, what's up, you son of a bitch? Thanks for listening, goddammit.
He considers his Transformers his fraternity brothers. He calls them Hasbros. Jason.
Nice. You cheated real easy on that one.
I sure
Hey, thanks
did.
everybody for listening. I'm so glad you're here.
All of his bros were aliens, time travelers, and robots. The name of his fraternity was Sci-Fi. Tad, everybody.
That's not too bad. I'll take it. Hey, guys.
Oh, my.
All right, well, you don't have to be in a fraternity to watch Shudder. You just have to subscribe, and when you do, you will have access to the best of the best of horror streaming content. The lambdas don't get that. Now you can get a month of Shudder for free. Yes, that's right. You don't even have to go through any initiation to get it. All you gotta do is enter our promo code AOTKP and you get a month of Shudder for free. Thanks to us here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. Why? Because we love you. Again, that promo code is AOTKP. Now, do you ever wonder what Attack of the Killer Podcast, the Attack of the Killer Podcast team has been watching lately? I know I do. Let's find out. Here's Tad with what we watched.
Watch.
Well, I know Jason and I watched a lot of the same stuff since we last talked. So let's throw it over to Andy. What have you watched?
Mostly the wife and I are keeping up with What We Do in the Shadows and Only Murders in the Building, and those are both really great shows. I suggest you check them out. They are on Hulu.
I thought you were going to say me and the wife have been keeping up with the Kardashians.
Right.
Yes, that I haven't watched
No,
a single episode.
what we
of
do
that.
in the shadows has been great again this season. It's just
Of course.
consistently great. I mean, I would,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every episode they just knock it out of the park. I mean, it takes a lot, since I'm just a moody bastard, for me to like laugh out loud in general, and that show always does it. And we watched. We're a little late getting into it, but we've been trying to catch up with Wellington Paranormal, and that's a great show on HBO Max. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three are great comedy shows. Dealing with two are just straight up dealing with more horror oriented, whereas like Only Murders in the Building is more of a murder mystery. But you've got Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, and then Nathan Lane will stop by, and Sting has been in it. Tina Fey is also regularly shows up in it, and it's just a really good show. I highly recommend.
And before any of the attackers or listeners snub their nose at Selena Gomez, she's awesome in this. So
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She is really good.
She was like the one thing I was slightly hesitant to myself watching the show, but Steve Martin and Martin Short trumped it so much. But then it turned out she's been great. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm a little late to the game since they were made, in 2005. But I've never seen all of the Masters of Horror. I think I've seen most of them, but I finally watched Lucky McKee's Sick Girl.
Ooh,
nice.
yeah,
That's a good one.
Yeah, and he regularly works with Angela Bettis, and this is the first time I've seen like I believe her name is Erin Brown in this, but Misty Monday, and I'm sure she appreciated being in something that wasn't called Dick Shark or Lord of the G Strings. But I mean, it was actually really well done, and I really enjoyed this one. And Masters of Horror, I wish they would bring that back. I wonder why that ever got the axe.
Went to like network and they changed the name and it was god awful. It went to like NBC for a season and it was during a writer's strike and they only aired like half the episodes and bless Mick Garris for trying.
I know, right? I mean, but yeah, the first season that we got is I don't think there's really a bad one in the bunch.
I mean, we got cigarette burns like Carpenter's last great moment.
yeah.
To me, it's all worth it. Like if everything else sucked, that would have been worth it. But yeah, Cozzarelli's is great. I mean, there's just so many good ones. Yeah.
Oh,
Argento,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, and Takashi Miike, I watched that. I was like, whoa.
The only one that didn't air on Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, because Billy Drago was in that, right?
Yeah, I agree. That first season is like a masterpiece. There isn't a bad episode in the bunch, and the first.
Can we
half
do an
of
episode
it.
on that?
We should.
Yeah, because I need to revisit them. I have all of
Yeah.
them. I have the like Skull DVD set with all the I loved that. Like I paid for Showtime just to watch that. So
Yeah, I will make note.
Yeah, dibs on Coscarelli's or Carpenter's. Since I almost enjoy the documentaries about the horror movies I love just about as much, and it's just like in this foldable cardboard thing. I mean, there's really not much to it, but I bought the documentary I Am Nancy. Have you guys ever watched this?
Yeah, Jason and I picked up copies of that when she was at Crypticon several years ago.
Yeah,
she had it on her
signed our
table.
copies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. Very nice. I mean, I had seen this years ago, but I always wanted my own personal copy of it. And it's just a really nice, different look, because everybody is got got their focus on Freddy or the franchise or just the story in general. But I mean, nobody really does a deep dive into this iconic character that really kind of got the ball rolling anyway. But yeah, I Am Nancy, and it's just Heather Langenkamp, doing her thing and interacting with the fans. Have you seen it, Tad?
I have not.
Oh, I highly recommend it. You should probably check it out. I don't know where it is streaming, but I mean,
Well, where the
it's
hell did
like
you
a
see
little.
it?
When I first saw it, I probably downloaded it illegally off the internet. But
You can borrow my copy.
yeah, I know. But it's I bought it off of Amazon. I think it was like $14 or something like that. I mean, I think you can get one on her website that's autographed for like 40, but you probably don't need it autographed. Mine's not. Um, but I mean, it's she interviews. But she of course interviews Wes, and she interviews Robert and all a lot of the people in it. I don't think you see much of Nick Corey in it, but I mean she interviews Wes' daughter, and she's got interesting things to say about when they were casting the first Nightmare on Elm Street and how Johnny Depp. Like in the end credits, she says, "I remember Johnny Depp telling her how to fix her watch and stuff like that." I mean, just really just obscure stuff. And she says the only thing she really saved from the first movie was her pajamas that she wore. So she still has the Nancy pajamas from the original one. But yeah, I recommend I Am Nancy. I also got the Vinegar Syndrome release of Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, the Mark Patton story,
Nice.
which I highly recommend if you haven't seen that too, because I think you can watch that on Shudder anyway.
Yep, I saw that.
But yeah, I just liked it so much, and there's a lot of really good special features on the Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know if it's like strictly Vinegar. I think it might be a partner release, but that's where you can get it anyway. I also from let's see, Saturn's Core, which is a partner of Vinegar Syndrome. I bought and watched Mail Order Murder, which is the story of Wave Productions.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, very interesting stuff. I mean, I love, like I said, I love watching documentaries about low budget films, and this is about as low budget as it gets. And it tells basically this guy just wanted to make horror movies. I think he believed he was a teacher, and he just loved horror movies so much he started his own production company in New Jersey, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yes, and he would just start making. In order to make more money, he would make. You would send in money, and then he would make his own custom films for you if you wanted a theme. And some of the themes that these people come in are just basically like, okay, these are like crazy fetish videos, but I mean, at least they're they're being made in a safe way, and nobody's being harmed. But I mean, they are crazy low budget. There was one where a guy, he sent in this concept where I want a woman who shrinks people down and just eats them. So you can imagine the special effects that they used in order to shrink people down and then eat them. So it's like it's hilarious to watch. But yeah, it's a documentary called Mail Order Murder: The Story of Wave Productions, and this is like, I mean, they kind of make Troma look like 20th Century Fox. I mean, that's how low budget they are. But just a fun documentary. I mean, it's rewatchable too. I mean, just to see how they started out from just like very very small, and they said you'd be surprised how many people would order these Wave videos. Just how low budget they are, and especially the custom ones. I mean, at $30 a pop, they'd get like 30 to 40 people by a week buying videos from them. So I mean, it all adds up. So interesting documentary, and yeah, that's other than the
what we had to watch for the show. That's all I watched.
Excellent. How about you, Mike?
I didn't get a chance to watch a whole lot. I mean, I have just now started the new season of What We Do in the Shadows. Haven't started the new season of Only Murders in the Building. But what I did watch, I watched a couple movies. I watched Revealer, which is on Shudder. It's a new one on Shudder. It's pretty good, pretty cool. Basically, an end of the world. This stripper and this holy roller lady basically have to team up to try to survive. I guess I don't know the end of times, and it's pretty cool. And I like the girls a lot. They do a really good job in it, and just my issue. My issues is anytime somebody doing a movie about end of times, I'm like, how are you gonna survive this? Well, we all know this is how it's gonna end. You're not gonna survive this. It's the end of times. It's the end of the world. So why are you even going on this adventure? But it's still really good, and really cool relationship between the two girls. Since they're on kind of the opposite ends of the moral spectrum, and they have to just try to survive this together. So, but then the only other thing that I watched was the new documentary finally out on Shudder. This is Gwar. Yeah.
I heard great things about that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great documentary. You wouldn't think you would ever watch anything about Gwar where you would end up crying multiple times, but there's a few times that I was fighting back some tears during this documentary. Obvious things like Dave Brockie dying, but there's way more going on in there than and it's such a I've always been a fan of the band, but I never really dived full in. I don't have like all their I don't even think I've heard all of their records. But
They have records? I thought they just toured.
I only remember one called "This Toilet Earth."
Yep, that's a good album. Yeah. I think that's their fourth album. But and I've seen them in concert only one time, and
Oh man, that was so fun though.
oh, it was awesome.
They always are.
I assume, have we all seen Gwar in concert?
Yes.
Have we?
I have not.
Oh,
Andy, I figured you'd be the one that was like sprayed with blood and everything up front.
No. I mean, it's just like, to me, they kind of remind me of like Insane Clown Posse with like Faygo.
No.
no, they're way.
Well, I
better
mean,
than that.
with the theatrics and like kind of like a Gallagher concert. That's all I meant by that. Like they're nothing similar in terms of that. Like they have Faygo, but they never drink the fucking shit. I mean, they're always just pouring it on their heads or spraying it everywhere.
And Gwar never takes any of their BS seriously. It's all in jest and humor, and graphic and gross and disturbing humor by far. But
That's the best kind.
yeah, and I love their movies and whatnot. But it's cool because not being a super uber fan, I learned a lot about the band that I was not aware of. I didn't know. So when they made their movie Phallus in Wonderland, it's that segment of the documentary is hilarious because they got nominated for a Grammy for that movie, and they're like, one of the band members is like, yeah, somebody fucked up and got fired over that because how in the hell does Gwar get nominated for a Grammy? And it talks about them going to the Grammys in like full outfits and tuxedos. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, but I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a Gwar fan, I made Brandy watch it with me, who cannot do metal at all. She is not. She just. It gives her anxiety, but she really enjoyed the documentary and even said she would go to a Gwar concert with me. I know she doesn't truly mean that,
Right.
and if she did, she would quickly learn to regret it. But she did. She even enjoyed the doc. So I think there's something for everybody. I would recommend checking it out.
Excellent. Is that all you've watched?
That's sadly all I've had
Hey,
chance to watch.
it's all good. How about you, Jason? What you
Well,
watched?
I finally checked out the Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe.
Yeah,
My God,
Nice.
it's so funny. You weren't
yeah.
kidding.
It's like the ultimate. Like, I just want to forget everything that sucks in the world right now and just turn my brain off for an hour and a half. It's just perfect for that.
It really is. It's so dumb, but so smart.
Right.
How does he do it? I don't know.
It's like, how do you put these characters from the 90s in the modern world? What would they do? They would buy all the nachos with a phone they found. That's what
Yep.
they would do. And it's so fucking stupid and funny.
I also watched, I believe it's new on Netflix, The Gray Man
Ooh, yeah. With Gosling?
with Ryan Gosling and Chris
And the-
Evans.
Russo Brothers
okay.
new movie.
Yeah, I just heard about
Yep, Billy Bob and Anna de Armas is in it. And
She's awesome.
holy fuck, man, this movie is fucking awesome. I'm not like normally just a action movie kind of guy, but holy fucking shit, this movie kicks ass. And like, I like cocky people. I just don't know. Always enjoyed it in real life and in movies and stuff. Just smart mouth stuff. But
That's
Ryan,
why we're friends.
right. But Ryan Gosling is like so fucking good at what he does. Like he can say anything he wants, and he can back it up. And like it's just incredible. He's so funny because he's just matter of fact and very straight laced with all the shit he says, but it turns out to be so funny because he just doesn't give a fuck and nobody can do anything about it because he's so awesome. And then Chris Evans is kind of the bad guy, and so that's neat to see Captain America as the bad guy. And yeah, it was just so action packed and amazing. It was great.
Have you seen The Nice Guys before? With
Yes.
Gosling? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's like he's great in that too, but more of a fumbling dumbass
Yeah.
like action guy, but he can do so much, the quiet, weird, like scary guy in Drive. He can be
Yeah.
super funny.
Oh, he's great.
Lars and the Real Girl, like he can do it all. Yeah, he's
When
he's
he's-
underrated. It's like not
when he sees
fair.
that dead. I'm sorry, but when he sees that dead guy in The Nice Guys, and he just can't even talk, and he's going. Yeah, it's just gold. He's awesome.
Yeah, it's not fair for someone to be that
Right.
like talented and good looking. Like fuck right off.
Right.
And he can do really good
I
music
can't
too.
help it.
Super talented in music too.
Yeah. And the last thing I watched, I forgot to say it last episode, but I really freaking loved it too. It's a new series on Paramount Plus. It's called Strange New Worlds. It's the new Star Trek show.
Oh. Okay.
And I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I always thought I was more of a wars guy, but I guess if I had to admit, I'd seen a lot of the original and a lot of Next Generation, so it's just in there, And I love the new series of the movies, the J.J. Abrams set with the first.
Me too. I
First
like
com-
those better than the new Star
Fuck
Wars
yeah.
movies.
Fuck yeah! And I'm telling you, man, this show is fantastic. It really captures the spirit of old Star Trek, and it's real characters from the series on the Enterprise. It doesn't have the biggest budget in the world, but yet they make they put every penny on the screen. Spock's in it. Little Uhura is in it as a cadet. Man, it's if you're looking for something modern that'll give you all the old Star Trek feels, I definitely recommend Strange New Worlds.
I think I heard William Shatner talk bad about it.
I don't know why, because he
Well,
does
fuck
show
him.
up. Not he doesn't, but his character shows up.
That's probably why, because he wanted that paycheck and for him to show up.
No, he's just fresh out of cadet. He isn't even a captain yet, and yeah,
I
He
believe
just
he
wishes
said
he was Picard.
he says that I believe I read the headline, which could just be clickbait bullshit. I didn't actually read the article that the original Star Trek creator is rolling in his grave over it. And I'm like,
oh no,
You're-
Oh
You
wait,
should
I
be
did
ro-
remember seeing that. Yeah.
yeah,
that's
and
ridiculous.
Well, that's
This
Shatner
is-
for you.
Oh yeah.
If he's not getting a paycheck, he's not going to say something nice about it.
He's got a big Roddenberry up his ass.
Of all the modern Star Trek stuff, this one really captures the vibe and spirit of the old stuff. It's amazing, and that's what I watched. Hey Tad, what have you watched?
Well, you didn't even mention how many shorts did you get to watch during Snake Eyes?
131 short films in 4 days, and my butt's still sore. Yeah, Snake Alley Festival of Film last weekend. Tad's Little Fest. 131 out of 131. I did it.
You did it. What were some of your highlights?
Oh, see, that's the problem.
He doesn't remember a damn one.
Well,
Oh, he does
I-
too. I know he
I-
does because he announced a winner
Yeah.
on stage. So
Yeah, Chris McEnroy's new movie,
Oh,
Guts.
of course. Yeah.
award-winning new
Award-winning
movie.
Guts.
I'm so
Yeah.
bummed I missed that.
That's his new one. We'll get him submitted to Halloween Palooza.
Yeah, you need to get a hold of him. Get
I
him
will.
to submit.
I'd give him a pass for sure.
Yeah.
Tons of things. I cried many times, and I had a fun. Me and the Brett and Tony Ash and Abe guys had our whole section in the back, and just all 4 days, all of us just sat back there and had a good time. Godsell was there, and everybody's there, and got to see Justin and Scott Beck and Justin Markson and everybody. It was a hell of a good show, Tad. Good job, buddy.
Good job.
Thank you.
Knocked it out of the park again.
It was a fun time, and that horror block, you guys were loud and rowdy, which was fun.
Of course.
I was upstairs filming your reactions for the filmmakers to send them.
Nice.
So, because there's nothing better. If you can't be there, there's nothing better for a filmmaker to just hear an audience reaction to their film. That's like the ultimate payoff. I know. So, I know they appreciate when I send them the laughing or the screaming or a little bit of that. Yeah, there was some doozies in that adults only block. Meet Friend and Guts, and then the director's award winner, Don't Go Where I Can't Find You, which is creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. But I watched also 131 films for the fifth time.
Yeah.
And I actually did get some other stuff watched. So last night I went, and so as of recording this, last night I went and finally saw Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yeah.
Has anyone else seen it?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
I will not spoil anything. Andy, you might like this one. I think this might be the Jordan Peele you
I've-
like.
I've heard. Well, I didn't necessarily dislike Us. I thought it was okay. But I've heard basically people are kind of 50-50 on it.
I think you'll dig this one because there's not really any kind of statement he's trying to make. It's just a creepy, crawly movie.
I've heard there's
I'm sure there might be a little bit undertones in there that I'm not getting because I'm an idiot, but and I can't really even talk about it without spoiling anything, but it is definitely sci-fi horror, really cool, a very I don't know. It felt almost too smart for me at times where I'm like, am I missing something? Then I had to think a lot. And I'm like, okay, I see where that connects to this. And, but I really liked it. I need to see it on a bigger, better screen that's already in the small theater at our theater, which bummed me out. I want to see it in LDX or IMAX, but it's a beautiful film too. What were you going to say, Andy?
Oh, I mean, I just heard that people are 50-50 on it, and either they like it or they don't like it. Some of them are just gigantic Jordan Peele heads, and they have no objectivity to it. They're just if it's a Jordan Peele film, I like it anyway. Which I'm kind of guilty of that, but there's some Carpenter films that I can't watch, like The Ward or even Village of the Dam. I didn't even like, but I mean, I'm in no rush to see it, but eventually, if the chance arrives, I mean, this may sound like a dick. I will not pay to see it, but if it's on streaming, I might check it out. I'm not that much of a curmudgeon.
I'm gonna call it now. This will be the Jordan Peele movie you like most. I think this one's.
That might be plausible.
I think this one will resonate with you most. It's set in a more grounded reality. Yeah, it's cool. One of my favorite parts. This is not a spoiler. Is when the boomer in front of me opened his phone to do something, text or something, and it was right when an usher walked in, and she walked up and embarrassed him in front of everybody. It was awesome. I wanted to get up and give her a round of applause for actually coming in and saying something to this piece of shit. And he was so embarrassed because he tried to he's like, "Oh, I was on my phone." She's like, "You're still on your phone. Put it away. Like, you're an adult."
Yes.
Like, yeah. So it's just good to it felt like the crowd was perfect. They were very quiet. Like it's to me, it's almost a sign of a good movie is when it's a full theater, but it's so engaging that no one wants to make noise and no one wants to. And even though we're all thinking, "What the fuck's happening?" Because it really is it takes a while to figure out what the fuck is going on in this movie. Which I thought was really great is that it doesn't hold your hand. It's very mysterious, but yeah, really fantastic stuff.
Which in turn should make it more engaging and make you watch.
Right.
You want to know it.
Yeah, and when people aren't on their phones and people aren't talking or they aren't distracted with something else, it's like, okay, we're all in this together. It was good. The only other thing I've really watched, I was just thinking about looking at my letterbox, and I didn't really have anything else as far as movies, but non-horror related. Have any of you ever seen Nathan For You on Comedy Central?
No.
One of my favorite shows of all time. Nathan Fielder is a comedic genius in the weirdest possible way. No one else is like him. I can't believe he's convinced HBO to give him his own show after this. It's called The Rehearsal. They just started promoting it like a month ago. It's only 2 episodes or 3 episodes out now. And I cannot even understand how the pitch went for the show, how they got it made. Because the way they started promoting it, they did not say anything about it, like what it's about, the concept, anything. They just started putting out posters and stuff, and then we're big Nathan Fielder fans here. We've seen every episode of Nathan For You, and he has a show. It's called The Rehearsal, and basically he finds people who are in a predicament, like a weird situation where they either have to confess to somebody or they want to make a big life change or move, and he helps them rehearse it so that when they do this thing, they are ready. The first episode is it has been my favorite so far. He found this guy. He basically put out on Craigslist asking is there something that you've been wanting to tell a friend or a family member or loved one, but you've held it back and really just want to get it off your chest. And he finds this guy who I'm trying to make this as short as possible because it's just so ridiculous. So he finds this guy who is part of a trivia team, and he's been lying to them and telling them that when they first met and formed this trivia team, they all had master's degrees, and he lied about it and told them he had a master's degree. And ever since then, this girl in the group has been sending him jobs that require a master's degree and stuff, and trying to help him out. And it's just been a burden on his shoulders, and he's stressed out about it. And this is like a reality show. This is a reality show. And Nathan I don't know how the fuck he manages to find the weirdest people and make the most uncomfortable show. I showed Nathan For You to my sister-in-law, and I swear she almost crawled out of her skin. It made her so uncomfortable because he is such an awkward guy. But nice. So he goes to this guy's house, and this is how involved this is, okay? It's not just let's sit down and rehearse what you're going to say. It goes to, I cannot believe HBO pays for this. So he talks to this guy and finds out this woman on the trivia team is sort of a hothead, and he's afraid to tell her because he's afraid she's going to scream at him and make a scene and be violent towards him even. So Nathan meets up with this guy. We find out weeks before he sent a team to his apartment, this guy's apartment, after they went back and forth through email and they figured out a situation, claimed that they were there to like do some kind of maintenance to his place. They 3D scanned his apartment while he's distracted. They built a replica of this guy's apartment down to like the carpet, the nails, the books on the shelves, the videos, the brand of TV, the seats, the chair. I mean, exact replica of this guy's apartment in a warehouse. They hire actors that are like him and this woman. I mean, it's just, I can't even explain to you guys. It gets to the point where he builds the bar that they play trivia in. He builds a replica of the motherfucking bar in a warehouse, down to like a balloon that's stuck on the ceiling, down to the coasters on every table. HBO apparently just paid to build a replica of this bar so that they could go there. And they go through every imaginable situation, every response she could possibly say, if they go into the bar and someone's at their table, what can you possibly do or say? So basically run through this a million times with actors so that when he goes, he's completely prepared. And it's just wild shit. I mean,
and then they film him really doing it.
They film him. They filmed the whole rehearsal, and it's a lot of it is like just the ridiculousness of. I mean, they follow these people around, and it's so involved, guys, that like this guy is worried that he's going to be distracted during trivia, and he will lose trivia, and he cannot lose trivia. This guy is sort of very neurotic and weird. So Nathan and him are walking around like New York or something, and he's hired actors to sort of run into them or be in their path or subconsciously give him the answers to the trivia questions. So they're like riding, and this guy cuts them off on a bike, and the guy's like, "Hey, watch out," and rings the bell, and Nathan's like, "Man, I see these recumbent bikes everywhere." And then like 2 weeks later during the trivia, it's like, "What is a bike you can sit on while riding?" And the guy's like, "Oh, recumbent bike, yeah." He doesn't realize that Nathan's feeding him the answers because he's hired 25 actors to, yeah. It is wild. It's like the wildest shit. I mean, it's the second episode, they have this woman rehearsing to become a mother, so they hire like 25 kid actors to speed up the process. So she starts with a newborn, and like every day it goes up like to like a week old to a month old, and yeah. It's so wild, guys. You have to it's on HBO Max. It's so worth it. Just watch the first episode. You're going to be like, what the fuck is this? This is wild, but you're going to laugh your ass off. Because then we find out that Nathan has been rehearsing everything too himself on how to do this rehearsal. It goes so deep. It goes many, many, many layers deep. On the newest episode, they built an entire replica of Kane's Chicken Restaurant. But yeah, the rehearsal with Nathan Fielder, HBO Max. Check that out. That's what I watched.
Oh my!
Wow, awesome, cool. Definitely have to check that out. Okay, baby, it's time to hit the poll. Here's Jason with pole position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
All right, let's take a quick look back at episode 265's pole position. The question, what are the scariest houses in horror movies? You remember your answers? Good. All right, you don't? I'll tell you what they were. Insane
I don't.
Mike said Blair Witch and Evil Dead.
That's right.
Those are good answers, man.
100%.
We'll see. Jason said Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Nightmare on Elm Street. Tad says Poltergeist and Cabin in the Woods.
Tad says I lost this week.
And Andy said Amityville Horror and Bates Motel. Let's see how the people responded. Last place with 8%. Insane Mike.
Are you fucking serious?
How did you let Andy beat you?
Ouch.
He put Bates Motel.
Wow.
That's not even a house.
Yeah, I'm calling shenanigans.
No, the Bates Motel has a house. You put Bates Motel. I put the Bates house.
And then second and third place tied with 23%. That's Tad and Andy, leaving me the victor with 46% of the vote.
And what did you put?
I had Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, it's pretty good
it's hard to
houses.
Texas Chain, that's a tough one.
Yep. Well, let's get into the pole position on today's episode. The question: Who's the best bro from any horror movie? We're gonna do our usual snake draft. We're gonna do 2 rounds. Let's go to the random sequence generator. So Mike's 1, I'm 2, Tad's 3, and Andy's 4. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep. Oh, shoot. Mike's first.
Woo!
Gosh, dang it.
Woo!
Then Tad, dang it. And then Jason, thank God. And then Andy. So Insane Mike, you're up first, brah. What's your first pick? Number 101.
I'm going to go with my knee-jerk response when this topic was posted, because I cannot think of a more bro in any horror movie. And that is Brad, played by Alan Kaiser from Night of the Creeps.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. It's on my list. Gosh dang it, brah.
That's right.
All right, Ted, you're up next. Number 2.
But this might, I don't know. This might either, you guys might be pissed because you might not consider this a bro, but I definitely consider him a bro.
Okay.
I'm going to say Ed from Shaun of the Dead, played by Nick Frost.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, he sits around, he farts, he's a loser. He's all about broing up with Shaun to the point where that he almost breaks up their relationship because Shaun and Ed, can't find their own space. I don't know. You don't consider Ed?
No,
bro?
I see where you're coming
Yeah,
from. On
totally.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it doesn't take any of my picks. It's great.
Tekken 2 all the way, man.
All right, well, I get my first pick. That's great. I'm excited. I'm going to go with Glenn Lance, Johnny Depp from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Football jersey,
Football jersey.
cut off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike's trying to downplay my pick. I heard that.
No, not at all.
I think we're all taking different approaches.
I know.
No, it's all good. It's all good stuff. When we get to the end, I'll explain my picks, because I actually have 2 different categories of picks.
Jesus Christ, how many drafts are we doing?
Well, honorable mention.
All right, Andy, you're up with pick 4 and 5.
Oh, pick 4 and
Bro.
5. All right, I gotta go with, and he's totally there to the bitter end, for a friend, for a bro. He's all about partying, and he's all about women. I gotta go with Stu Macher from Scream.
I was considering. That's a good choice.
That's a great choice.
That's Matt Lillard. And for my 5th pick, I mean, he's definitely an alpha of the bros, but let's just say he's not the dean per se. I gotta go with David Kiefer Sutherland in The Lost Boys. He definitely comes across as a bro to me.
I can see that.
Yeah, well, shoot, that takes... I was thinking about Jason Patrick, but I don't want 2 Lost Boys picks. Gosh. All right, I'm going with... oh, man, there's so many good ones. Kurt Vaughn, played by Chris Hemsworth, Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, that was
He's
on
on my
mine.
list. Yep,
Damn.
on my
Heck
list
yes.
too.
Damn.
All right, Ted, you're up.
Man,
Pick
I have
7.
2 that are
know.
neck and neck. I'm gonna go with Zeke from The Faculty,
Yes.
played by Josh Hartnett.
That was
Oh,
on my
good
list.
one. Yep, that's a good one.
Even though he's not the jock, he's got the
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
he's dealing drugs out of his car, man. He's
Yeah.
a bro. Yeah.
All right, Insane Mike, close us out.
Okay, so I just want to explain, I think all of my bros fall into that jock category.
Okay, bro.
And jock or the preppy guy. And I have two categories within that. Well, technically 3, I guess. There's the dick asshole bro that we all can't wait to get killed off
Yep.
in the movie.
Yep.
And then there's the good guy bros that come off as that trope of the dick jock guy, but subverse it, which is, I was going to say Kurt because of that from Cabin in the Woods. So instead, I'm going to go with Chad, played by Jesse Moss in Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
All right, that's good.
I thought you were going to say Chad, played by Tom Green in Charlie's Angels. the Chad.
Yeah, the Chad. That's right. Yeah.
Well, any honorable mentions? I got Tommy Ross, played by William Catton Carey.
He's on my
I had
list.
him on my list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dennis from Christine, played by John
Yes.
Stockwell.
Damn
Fuck
it, I had
yeah.
him on my list too.
Anton from Idle Hands. All three of them could be bros.
Yeah, yeah,
I got Skeet Ulrich Billy from Scream. I thought.
yeah. Good one.
Yeah, my list is done. So
Oh,
Kurt Adam Devine from The Final Girls.
he was on my list too. Good
Yeah.
job. Yeah, that was the one I almost
Oh,
said.
yeah.
Instead of Chad, I was going back
Dang
and
it.
forth on
Yep.
that. Last couple ones, you guys have said a lot of them on my list. So again, I had the two categories: the jerk bros, and then the ones that subverse that. So in the jerk category, I also have Tim, played by Doug Savant in Trick or Treat. And then there's the middle category of the one bro that I can think of that is both the jerk and the nice guy all at the same time. I still to this day am confused on his relationship with the lead character of this movie, and that is Ron, played by Robert Russler in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Like, he's fighting him, he's like depantsing him, but then they're like best friends in the second half of the movie. I don't freaking get it.
Yeah.
I wish we would have found out more about Bob and Paul in Halloween. I think those guys might have been bros.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep, definitely.
Bob definitely has a bro van, you know. But
what's his name from Halloween 2? Don't Cry, My Apple Pie. The guy that's like a
The ambulance?
EMT.
Yeah.
Yeah, ambulance driver.
Bud,
Yeah, he's a bro.
yeah, Leo
Big
Rossi,
time, bro. Yeah.
But he's not going to get
Yeah.
any votes because he fucking sucks.
Yep.
yeah. Amazing Grace, please sit on my face, or whatever the hell he said.
Yeah. Don't make me cry. I need your pie. Yeah.
All right, bros, get your votes in. Go to Twitter at AOTKP. Let us know who your favorite bros in a horror movie are. And that is Pole Position.
Sweet. Let's talk about some movies. How's
Yeah,
that sound?
That sounds awesome.
Sweet.
do it.
Well, then, why don't you go ahead and start then, Jason?
Fine, I will. Let's talk about, for the first movie tonight, let's talk about the 2000 thriller. So I'm just saying it. The Skulls.
In a place where tomorrow's leaders are groomed,
Where did Mr. McNamara learn to row? The local sewers, I imagine. He's a townie. He won us the Ivy League championship 3 years in a row. That's all I know.
in an organization
Are you ready to be reborn?
where success is assured.
Our membership has its pleasures, its hardships, and sometimes its pain.
We live by the rules, we die by the rules.
Gentlemen, welcome home.
Luke McNamara is about to get an opportunity he's only dreamed of.
Senator, it's a pleasure to meet you. What do you think of all this? To be honest, it's all a little bit overwhelming.
But if a secret society can give you everything you desire,
This is your pre-acceptance to the law school of your choice.
That's gotta be a mistake.
You are a skull.
imagine what they can take away.
None of us are safe.
What are you gonna do?
We live by the rules, we die by the rules.
I want to know the truth about what happened that night.
The surveillance cameras, so there's got to be tapes. Can you get any closer on this? Closer. I know what you did.
It's time we remove Mr. McNamara. He's no longer loyal.
This February,
You keep digging, you're gonna dig your own grave.
only an elite few ever get in.
I have evidence.
They erased the tape. Who? The skulls. They control everything.
No one has ever gotten out.
They're dead.
If it's secret and elite, it can't be good. Would you like your life back, Luke?
Deep within the hallowed walls of Ivy League's most prominent campus exists a secret society where power and elite are bred. Only a few are chosen to join, where presidents are groomed, wealthy bloodlines bond, and plots thickened. For Luke McNamara, an invitation to join the prestigious secret college organization, The Skulls, is a dream come true until murder befalls another student. This is a first-time watch for me.
Me too.
And,
I've seen this plenty of times.
And I mean, I think it lived up to why I kept skipping it all them years.
Whoa!
It's a product of its time.
It is.
Okay, it is
Oh,
definitely comes from the Scream. I know what you did last summer. That era.
I was
of,
gonna say, was this written in the '90s and they filmed it in 2000?
Director
Definitely.
Rob Cohen, he's done Triple X, Fast and the Furious, the Mummy sequels, those kind of things. Here's the thing. I like Joshua Jackson. I think he's pretty cool.
so does he.
Hey, Leslie Bibb's great. Christopher McDonald's awesome. But my friend Corey Canny has made me hate Paul Walker. I just he can't. His acting is hard to watch, and that's Corey's fault, not Paul's fault.
Well, I have good news for you.
Hey, don't. That's not good news.
You don't have to see any more of it.
So, like,
Wow, and people have the nerve to call me the asshole.
I know. Oh, Tad's the real
Damn,
asshole.
man, that's brutal. That's brutal.
So, like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But, like, so again, I like Josh Jackson, and it says in that description that it's a dream come true to get in the Skulls. And then from the very first second he might be in the Skulls, it feels like he doesn't want to be in the Skulls.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm like, what? And then the other big complaint is like, I think the writers were just leaning on the audience to just accept what a secret society is, because I don't know that they like followed what they said they were supposed to be. Like it just turned into a little crime drama, and that didn't really follow their own rules of, you know, like once you're in, you're in. You're like, but they didn't really show any examples of like, I don't know, of how this is a good thing to be in.
Yeah, they did when he went to get money out of the ATM, and he was rich all of a sudden, and he got a really nice watch, and he had cars. That is materialistic, you know, is what these kind of guys, and I think that's what I liked about, and it's a very big stereotype, is that they're like, Joshua Jackson came from nothing. We learned that his parents are both dead, and he still sees his old friends who were like thieves and stoners, and sort of outcasts and losers, but he made it because he's smart. So he went to school to become, to become something, make something of himself. And he sort of struggles where it's like, I don't want to be a part of this thing, but it would be nice to not be broke. Because there's even a scene where he's like stressing about how he's going to pay for this, and how he's going to go to law school, and Craig T. Nelson is in this, and he's well cast, I think. I don't know. Maybe I have a soft spot because this was like when I was in like middle school, and this was like, this was on probably TBS all the time at midnight. My sister probably watched it a lot because it had Dawson's Creek people in it. But
Sure.
I mean, it's horror light, but it's like it came out. You know, there's like this era where it was like, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the Scream sequels. I'm trying to think of what else there was. There was a lot of stuff, right? Urban Legend. You know, it has that like really clean cinematography. You know, and pretty people everywhere. There's not an ugly. What's considered ugly is if someone has like a nose ring. You know, it's very
beginning of the floating head posters.
right.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where girls walk into a room in slow motion to Creed. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll wait my turn.
so yeah. I mean, it's a product of its time, but for me, it's one of those movies that's just easily digestible. It's not something I would pull off the DVD shelf and put in, but if I'm falling asleep at 2 a.m. and it's on TBS, I will put it on. And it's so weird. I haven't seen this probably in 10 years, and I still remembered, like, you know, the video footage of them watching, and I was like, oh, I remember the twist that when he fell, he's actually was alive, and they killed him. The skulls killed him, you know, or following the bro, like the big security guard up that hides the tapes inside the library in like a secret hidden room. And to me, secret societies have always been really interesting and cool, and the idea that this is like those things really do exist, maybe not in this way, but to the fact that they'll have a fucking duel. But yeah,
it made me want to watch Social Network. Maybe
yeah.
I had a friend whose sister that went to Yale, and I think this Skulls movie is based off of Skull and Bones, which is a real. And I asked her about it one time when she was back. She just goes, "I don't really know much about it, but I know where their building is. I know where they meet, and that's about it." But as for pertaining to the movie, I mean, that's just like you're absolutely right, Ted. It's a product of its time. Like with the Creed music, with the girls slow motion walking in, it's all very she's all that and slow motion walking, good looking, you know, pop song, but. Even when I was hearing Creed back in 2000, I was like wondering why people like it when there's just piping hot liquid shit pumped into their ears. But
I mean, even Halloween H2O had Creed music in it. It's all like that era.
Scream 3 too.
Yeah, all of it. It's like what were they thinking? It's so bad now, but
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the slow motion walk while, you know, with a beautiful woman, the only person that's allowed to do that is Phoebe Cates, and for good goddamn reason. But there's other problems that I had with this list. Like, I think, you know, you never really know who the true heavy is, and that's due in fact to the way that the story's being told. Like, they don't really know who killed him. This Joshua Jackson's friend. But at the same time, I think they just saw Paul Walker as such a baby face that they have him training in all these boxing segments, right? And the only time he throws a punch to like anyone is when he ambushes, you know, Joshua Jackson in his apartment or his dorm room or anything. And I was just like, I think they just did that to try to make him look like tougher than, you know, he actually appeared, because he looks like, you know, he's 17 years old and he just, you know, looks like he just got out of football practice or whatever. I mean, he doesn't really look imposing as a heavy at all.
What were some other things? You know, like like you said, it's a product of the time. It was more 2000s than the actual 2000s were. It was a lot more tamer than I thought it
would be.
Is this like PG-13? I'd have to even look. I can't think. Maybe swearing. Yeah, it's PG-13, not even R. So.
Yeah, and just another thing, just like they say, secret society. It's a secret society. Well, you might want to, you know, take away the big giant spinning bat signal you have on your fucking house where you guys meet. It's not. I mean, the word secret. You know, I'd say the cat's out of the bag when you're branding yourself on your wrist.
Tad,
but
have you seen either of the sequels, 2 or 3?
I have not. No, I think they're straight to video sequels. But no, I have not seen any.
Just wondered.
I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I was just like, man, there was just a lot of things that just really stuck out as like a sore thumb, and like but it's forgivable because like Tad said, it's a product of its time. Didn't wasn't in love with it, didn't really dislike it, but yeah, not something I'm going to be revisiting anytime soon. I mean, if I'm going to watch a Joshua Jackson horror movie, it's probably going to be Urban Legend.
I promise I didn't fall asleep.
Mike.
I wasn't doing other things. I was paying attention. But did I miss some scenes? Because it just really felt like on days of shooting, they were pulling pages out and saying, nah, we don't need that. It just seems to jump from point A to point D.
Mike, it's 2 hours
seconds.
and 22 minutes.
But yeah, it still feels like there's a ton of information missing. I felt like we didn't really learn much about this guy who's trying to join this fraternity until way after the initiation scene. So I'm like, okay, why is this guy? At that point, I wasn't even sure who our lead character was. Even after that scene, when he meets up with his friends that he dissed when he's asking them for help, like, where'd these guys come from? There's no reference to these guys at all. I mean, it takes most of the movie for me to realize most of this guy's backstory, and so there's such a disconnect in as far as like, what you guys were saying before about how he wants to be part of this fraternity, but he doesn't at the same time, and all this, that, and the other thing. And I just didn't get it. And I should have taken better notes because I know there was other moments too where I'm just like, did I miss a scene? This would have been explained in a previous scene, right? Before we got to this point. Anyway, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty decent. I just want to warn the listeners though that don't go in with a certain expectation, because I was kind of expecting one thing, but I don't let expectations anymore. I try not to let them ruin a film for me. So I still enjoyed this for what it actually was. But I just feel like it was almost there. It's just like there was things that they could have done different that would have maybe pushed this movie over the edge just a little bit more. Maybe being more dark and more mysterious, because I felt like it started going in that direction where almost like the fraternity itself was its own entity and was bigger than the individuals, to where kind of like the movie Cube, where like there's people that built this, there's people that run this, but it's happening on its own beyond an individual's control. And I think if like they did more of something like that, it really maybe would have escalated this film. And then just like the activities of the cover up and the things that this fraternity did, it could have been more dark and mysterious. I mean, the lead guy kind of figures things out a little too quickly, a little too early, to where it kind of takes away from the tension of what the organization is supposed to be about. And then there's just like things here and there that I like, that I thought it could have been better. I liked the senator character, but I didn't really care for the performance of the guy and some of the scenes that was written with him, because I liked the fact that he was kind of helping the kid behind the scenes, become victorious. And I just like that. And I like the idea of like a politician character, escaping the tropes and like of a politician character in a movie and being secretly one of the good guys and helping pull the strings for the good guy in the film. But then there's moments of like, oh, he's being blackmailed now because he was getting it on with a 17-year-old, behind his wife's back. And I'm like, oh, now you're going to make me not want to like this guy now. but even there, all the way to the end, when it's just like the senator's like, someday I'll call upon a favor from you, and the kid's just like, I don't want anything to do with any of this, and then you're thinking, well, the senator I guess is a jerk, but then like when he's leaving, he's like, good job, he says it under his own breath and not to the kid, so it's like, oh, so that was like a test too. But then it's too late because it's like I already know the senator character is already a piece of crap. So that's a bummer. It would have been nice to maybe have like an inside guy that that we could root for and like that does help the kid out. I didn't mind Paul Walker. I thought he was decent in his performance of like a complete and total idiot who doesn't know what the hell's going on at any given time, really.
Bro.
He's totally a bro character. So. Yeah, and I agree with all of you. It's definitely a product of its time. It felt very, very 90s. But not necessarily bad. I mean, again, I enjoyed myself. I didn't regret watching it or anything. So.
And you can watch this one on Peacock.
All right. Well, before we go on to the next movie, here's Tad with a little bit of trivia about The Skulls.
This film is included on the film critic Roger Ebert's most hated list.
Oh, nice.
That was the most interesting thing I could find about The Skulls.
All right. Cool. Fair enough. Thanks.
They wouldn't let him in.
Yeah. Tad, what do we got up next?
I
meant Andy. Sorry. I was going to say, thanks, Tad, for the trivia. Andy, what movie we got up next?
Okay, bros. Our next movie comes to us from 1988, and it is called Pledge Night.
Each year, this wild fraternity pledges 6 new members. This year, there is one difference. Beyond these doors, within these walls, for these college students, Pledge Night is about to begin.
Just come, please!
Pledge Night. Brothers to the end. The very end.
Okay, a college fraternity in the middle of hazing their new pledges during Hell Week incur the wrath of a long-deceased pledge who died during a hazing gone wrong 20 years ago. This is a lot of good 80s cheese. You've got the soundtrack by a thrash metal band called Anthrax, which is fun. And
whether it fits or not, it's awesome.
Yeah, right. But I mean, a lot of it starts out with a lot of the real stupid, corny shit that fraternity brothers play on their pledges. They make them do a lot of gross stuff, like doing like this,
picking up cherries with their assholes. Yeah.
with their assholes, and it's sitting on blocks of ice, and it's just done for their own morbid sense of amusement, and they call it brotherhood. It's just like, I can be your friend without picking things up with my ass. They have tie strings to their dicks, and then attach to the corn cob. And when a girl asks about the corn cob, they said, pull on it and find out, which basically it yanks the string and then it yanks their dick. And they have things called pig parties, which you don't get more fucking bro than that. That's pretty, disgusting, where they just invite town girls and try to bone them, and which another scene during that I thought was weird. These guys are all masculine and stuff, and they've got like a stripper that's probably 57 years old and mostly plastic from what I can tell.
And this guy goes up there, like the shortest, like scrawniest, big mouth, most punchable one, and he gets knocked in the face by her, silicone, and he's all happy, and then he says, "Let's turtle." So he wants a bunch of, grown men jumping on top of him, which I was just like, okay, that was a
choice.
That was a 180. But anyway, they're pulling all these pranks on them, and they have one guy named Dan, I believe is his name. Have him be like they call him the bad man, which they make him seem like he's crazy and he's scaring all the pledges, and they're faking stabbings. So when anything like violent goes wrong, they believe that it's all part of the gag, and things go really wrong when it turns out Dan is actually, here's spoiler, possessed by a pledge that died 20 years ago in the same house, and he's going around starting to kill all these, fraternity members and the pledges as well, because he's pretty pissed off. And it turns out he was boiled in like some acid bath in the late 60s. And then there's a tie to one of the main characters, which I won't really give that away, but there's lots of interesting kills. Unfortunately, Dan has a more annoying laugh than the chick from what's that one, the Indonesia movie where that real crazy lady,
Mystics in Bali.
Yes, he has a worse laugh. Yes, he has a worse. Yes, he has a worse laugh than her, than the lady from.
What about
Mystics
the
in
nanny?
Ooh,
Fran Dresser,
Ooh.
yeah, not quite as bad.
Well, yeah, she's a little bit easier on the eyes than what Dan is, so I mean, she can kind of get away with it. But yeah, there's lots of, unfortunately, a lot of the gore you don't get to see when, like, for instance, when Dan's stabbing like the short, little annoying fraternity brother in the back with like anything that he can find on like this work table, like screwdrivers, scissors. You don't get to see it. You just get to see him reacting to it. And unfortunately, a lot of the cooler deaths happen off screen, like when a guy gets a cherry bomb put in his butthole and he basically just blows his bunghole out, which too bad we couldn't have seen that, because
I know you love blowing bungholes, so
yes, I do exploding asses.
You guys are gross.
Well, we're kind of we're on a horror podcast. But yeah, I mean, this is a second time watch for me. I actually purchased this from Vinegar Syndrome a while back. Truth be told, I mean, I kind of like it. The heavy in it kind of he kind of puts off since it's from the 60s and he's burned, he almost puts off a very slight Leonard Gates from Popcorn kind of vibe to me. I mean, that's just, I mean, I guess that's probably kind of reminds me of it, just a little. And he was actually the young Sid Snyder, which is the heavy's name. It says, actually, I'll leave that to Tad. He might have looked it up. Anyway, I don't know where I was going, but after that, I mean, it was all looks like it was shot in one house. I mean, there's very few other locations, but yeah, kind of a neat little obscure college movie. I mean, it's kind of up there with The House That Dripped Blood. With me, it's similar in that way. Anyway, I'll shut up. I will let you guys have at it. Go for it.
Well, I'll just say this was a first time watch for me, and this movie somehow I never got around to it back in the day, but I remember just being excited for it when it was covered in Fangoria and Gore Zone.
Yeah, I assumed you would have because it has a toilet on the cover.
Yeah, holding a banana. With arm
What?
sticking out holding a banana. Like, perfect, right? I just never got around to it. So it was a first time watch, and, some good, some bad. It's weird to say, like, I enjoyed the first half with all the initiation stuff. I thought that some of that was like fun and inventive. Yes, the pig party was rather, disgusting and deplorable. But hey, it was the '80s, I guess, right? But some of the initiation
Weinstein.
stuff I thought was imaginative. Now I did watch this before. I watched this before the Skulls, so when I'm watching the Skulls, I'm thinking, man, those pledges and Pledge Night were wimps because they really branded them in the Skulls. They faked it in Pledge Night. But I like the idea of them, setting up the one guy to be like crazy, and so all the pledges are like all tense and freaking out the whole week and all this, that, and everything, and you're just waiting for all that to go horribly wrong, not knowing where the plot of this is going, but knowing it's a horror film. Maybe all that stuff was too long because it takes forever to get to the horror element of this film.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the Sid backstory, and then the ghost of Sid, which is obviously, this definitely needs to be on the list of Nightmare on Elm Street ripoffs, because it's a ghost character that's horribly burned, right? So, and then he tries to do a couple of one-liners, but they just don't land very well. This movie definitely.
By your rationale, wouldn't Nightmare on Elm Street be a burning ripoff?
But he wasn't a ghost. He was like a real dude.
All right, fine.
Yeah, I had in my notes that I was sort of taking notes while doing this. I said, 25 minutes in, and we have yet to see any horror.
Yeah.
And then finally, 32 minutes in, we see our first kill, but it's a flashback. So it took 32 minutes of a 90-minute movie to get our first hint of horror.
Yeah, were they thinking they were making like just a college romp comedy, and then realized it wasn't funny enough, so they decided to add horror to it? I don't know, but
Animal House, it is not.
It is definitely not an Animal House. No, it definitely suffers from its low budget and all that, but I think it's fun and goofy, and I found it entertaining. I feel bad though because I love Anthrax. AC/DC gets Maximum Overdrive.
Yep.
Queen gets Flash Gordon, and poor old Anthrax gets Pledge Night. I mean, come on. It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, guys. Mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say.
Come on.
Yeah, this one is not for me. I didn't enjoy it.
I honestly wouldn't think you did. It's definitely, it falls
It's
into
not-
my
it's not
category of
great.
it's so bad that it's fun, but I know you don't always get that. So.
No, yeah,
I'm with Mike on this one. It's not for everybody.
it's super low budget, super bad acting. I just couldn't fucking wait for the 3-foot guy who is barking instructions at the pledges, trying to be intimidating.
That's a good payoff, though.
Yeah, at least he gets it, and it's like, ugh. But this one didn't have a lot of fun. So I
didn't mind it myself. I mean, maybe I was just like, we have a good mix of movies on this one, like from different eras and different tones, and to go from something, it's like literally on the opposite end of the spectrum from the Skulls. It's like the Skulls is high budget, pushed out with pretty people that are being used for their looks, and it's highly polished from a big studio. And this is like no budget. We're going to use Anthrax as our selling point.
And no looks, no good looks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Andy said, even the stripper, you can't get a good-looking stripper. Come on. But yeah, I mean, looking back at this, it's definitely, you know, very, again, a product of its time. And the IMDb says 88. Some places say 90. Somewhere between the late 80s and early 90s. But definitely some things that are not too PC today that would not fly today. But I mean, that's sort of, I don't think they're doing any many fraternity movies these days anyways. But you know, it's a throwaway frat bro slasher horror from the 80s. If there's nothing else, I like the soundtrack, and it was short, so I mean, it's silver lining on everything. You know, the music was cool, and it wasn't even 90 minutes, an hour and 26. So it felt like it went by fast, and I never got too bored with it. So,
and you can watch it on Shudder, and if you don't have Shudder, check it out. Use our code AOTKP. Free month.
Yeah,
nice. Okay, then, before we move on, let's check back in with Tad, see what trivia he's got for us on this one.
The trivia on this one might be more interesting than the actual movie. So I think Andy alluded to this earlier. Young Sid in the movie is played by Joey Belladonna, who is the lead singer of the metal band Anthrax.
Yes.
I just want to add real quick on that. Sorry to interrupt, but back in the day when I was reading about this in Fangoria, I assumed that Joey was Sid throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, not just a cameo.
And then so that was a bit of a letdown to learn that he was just that in that one scene.
Yeah. Joyce Snyder, who was the writer of this, I guess was a porn writer before this movie. This film was submitted to the MPAA 5 times, and the more explicit moments of gore had to be toned down in order to secure an R rating. And this is the only movie written or produced by Joyce Snyder that isn't X-rated. It was also her last film. After this, she became an author. And also, one thing, I don't even have this in my notes, but I saw it and I thought it was sort of interesting. She's sort of the like a female creep because of her porn background. She made every man who auditioned get completely naked in front of her during the audition.
Huh.
To see if they would be comfortable with it.
Well, when you're shooting porn, I mean, how else do you audition?
Do the dudes even get naked in this movie?
They're just some butts picking up cherries.
I guess, yeah.
And I think I also read that the actor Andy was referring to with the awful laugh, he was only cast because of his laugh. He did it in audition.
No.
He did it in audition, and they thought, oh, you know, what a laugh. We have to have him in there. And yeah.
It may have been okay once, but when it's like throughout the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tad, for the trivia on Pledge Night. So, Tad, what's our next movie we're going to talk about?
Our next movie is my favorite of the bunch from 2015. It is Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
In part 1, she got revenge. In part 2, she decided to have more revenge. This summer, Motherface returns for the final chapter.
I'm here to find out who murdered my brother.
So brutal, so twisted,
You've ruined my life!
so offensive, it was banned in 18 states and never released.
Motherface is rising on the harvest moon to kill the Delta Buys.
Joe, weekend at the lake? It'll be like a dude bro party. Like Easter for men. Are you guys daft or something? Motherface is back!
The Dude Bros will taste their own blood.
Dance with me.
But my investigation.
Now we dance.
Party, hey! Want to see some cold ass shit?
can't even look at it!
Lick the inside for a 3D experience, little shit bag.
What a trailer.
What a movie.
I picked
Yeah,
the
what
Red
a
Band one just for that.
Yeah, to go along with that ridiculous trailer, there's a ridiculous storyline on the internet that I'm just going to have to read. Dude Bro Party Massacre 3 follows Brent Chirino as he enters the oil-misted halls of the Delta Pi Theta fraternity. Brett isn't just any pledge, he's a legacy, and it's a legacy of death. See, Brent is here to solve the mystery of his identical twin brother Brock's murder, and he'll do anything to crack the case, even attempt the frat's most daring prank of all time. After the Delta Senior prank causes 2 commercial jets to collide over an orphanage, they're punished to a weekend at the old sorority house by the lake, but they're not the only ones there. A mysterious killer named Motherface lurks nearby. She knows the bro's deepest fears, and she's taking advantage of those fears to pick them off, one by shirtless one in increasingly gory ways. It's a race against time for Brent to discover the mysteries of his brother's death before Motherface butchers them all. So this is the way this is presented, sort of mentioned that in the trailer, is that we're watching the only copy of this that was taped off of like a late night showing because the movie has been banned. So there's these little commercial breaks as if it was on VHS. I fucking love this, guys.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's awesome. It's been on my list forever. I've seen it. It used to be on Shudder. It's been everywhere. My bro Greg Sestero's in this.
Yeah. Every time I think of this movie or I watch this movie, I always forget until I see him. Like, oh yeah, Greg Sestero.
And he's a perfect casting for him in this. He's hilarious. Everybody in this is hilarious. This premise is hilarious. I love this. This feels sort of like what's the group that did like the Editor and Manborg? Astron 6. Yeah, definitely has that Astron 6 vibe to it. Not quite as weird, but it's really tough to sort of do this on purpose camp and make it work. Either it falls flat and sucks, or it's good. And this is, to me, good. This is so entertaining and something I would probably have to seek out the Blu-ray or DVD or whatever. Mm-hmm. This is just a blast. I mean, this would be a fun movie to watch with a crowd.
Oh man,
party Ted. Yeah, I know. Yes. This is one that would fit in there so well. The idea that it's the third in the series, and half the time the story doesn't make any sense, and it looks like it's shot on VHS, and you can tell they were just having a blast making it. This ruled. What did you guys think?
They got Larry King to be in this movie.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt is a much bigger feat to me. Larry King was in freaking Ghoul School for crying out loud.
Even good in this. He's good in this, though. I thought.
And the dean was Nina Hartley.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Andrew WK, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Show up and he's there. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. This movie's fucking crazy.
It's crazy, and I love it. It's just it's a total insane Mike movie to me, man. Like,
it's crazy quotable too. I know I haven't done a line of the film in a while, but one of my favorites was from Turbo when he says, "Watch me not give a shit." When he's fucking with it, watch me not give a shit.
All the grief they give the girlfriend every time she shows up is so fucking funny. That poor girl.
Oh my god!
I brought you beer. Like, you aren't supposed to be here. Get the fuck out of here.
It's
and
one.
The guy's like quoting out of like the book, like, you need to be outside, page such and such.
Yeah, it's 1,000 jokes a minute kind of movie, while being over the top gore. It's just the things we love.
Yeah, I mean, this is a parody movie, a satire movie for the modern age. Like, this should be the next evolution of that kind of film. And I put that in there with like Psycho Gorman and stuff like that. But like, it's the next evolution after things like Naked Gun and Airplane and whatnot.
Yeah, these directors, Tom Jacobson, Michael Rosselet, and John Salmon, they ran, I guess, a website like 5 Second Films where they made 5 second no budget films, and they made a trailer for this, and it was like so popular that they're like, what if we made this a real movie, and did a crowdfunding thing, and I think it was like $200,000, and they they made this, and you can tell it's like literally like Jason said, it feels like 5-second movies all like put together
you can tell with them little commercial interlude breaks, you never get full things, but they still tell little stories. It's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's so funny.
And doing
definitely
that too, as far as like it being like the video look to it and all that, I think was a really smart move as far as kind of hiding the fact that they didn't have a whole lot of money, because it really the no budget quality of it really plays into the whole film itself and the humor of it.
It's definitely the Zucker brothers on speed or cocaine or whatever. It's, I mean, I want to rewatch it again because when I was thoroughly entertained, but it's just like you said, there's so many jokes a minute. Like you feel like you could. That's what makes it so rewatchable to me. I mean, I got a feeling this is definitely going to end up on my shelf.
Yeah, I need to own this. Yeah, I'm surprised I don't yet. So funny, so good.
Yeah. So what do you? It's hard to. This has happened before, like with the Master on 6 movies. There's like so much happening. It's hard to even talk about because there's so many jokes. I can't even begin.
You can't really do a deep.
It all. I know.
You can't do a deep dive. You know, you just.
A fun killer.
Experience it.
Jokes the whole time.
Yeah, and there's a fun killer that and some really great kills, and like just fun little cameos that aren't distracting, but it's like perfect for this type of thing to have cameos to be like, holy shit, this person's in that. Holy shit, random ones like you said, Larry King, like what the fuck when he pops up. Patton Oswalt to me, like he will do things that he thinks are fun, like little indie projects that I can imagine he probably knows these guys somehow. I mean, I was watching it, and as someone who has watched A Room way too many times, even Derek, who's played by Greg Sestero in the movie, says, "The flowers, the music, the champagne," which is a line from The Room. I'm like, they literally just took a quote from that movie, and I think I read like one of the directors, Michael Rosslet, he's considered patient zero of the cult following surrounding The Room because he was one of the only people to see the movie upon its release, its initial release before it became a cult sort of classic. So
I just love it because, like, on the surface, it is the dumbest movie ever made, but yet it's fucking smart, man. The writing's so goddamn good in all its dumbness. I don't know how to explain it.
Truth be told, I thought I was gonna fucking hate it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I really did. I thought it going into it. I didn't watch the trailer. I went in blind. I was just like, "Am I are you serious?" You know, going in, I thought I was just going to be like, "Oh God, I'm going to want to claw my eyes out." But I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It's brilliant.
I have to say, my only complaint about the whole thing is that these 3 directors have not done anything since. They need to be doing more stuff.
They really do.
Yeah, it's hard to nail this kind of humor at this level, and they do just nail it. You know, this surpasses anything Trauma.
Oh,
you know,
a million times.
It's but you could still feel like it goes into that category. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. It's like Lloyd needs to take some lessons from these guys as far as that mix of satirical horror humor.
Yeah, I mean, I even get back to making, I don't know if they have, but like get back to making some shorts. Like, I think they would. It makes me think of some of like the crazy fun stuff I've seen at festivals that play like the midnight blocks. This is like perfect fit for that style where, you don't need a whole lot of budget and you sort of hide it with the way it's filmed and look, and to me, I love this. This was a blast. I mean, you just have to describe it as fun. Like it's just so fast paced. It just goes and goes.
Yeah.
I was sort of bummed when I started watching it that like Nikki didn't join me to watch it. I was like, oh, she would have really liked this one.
She loves bros. That's not true.
I love the everything about the Motherface character. I love the look. The name is cool. Unlike other horror parody movies, like this is probably one of the best. Like it could almost transcend into watching a film series with this character.
Its own franchise, yeah.
Yeah. Like Student Bodies had The Breather, which was basically a guy wearing rubber gloves. Whoopee. Scary Movie. It's just the Scream mask. So like they put some effort into. I like the cool looking yet still really bad because you could see the separation of the skin from the face of the mask and everything. It's just the Motherface is awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Go check that out. It's on, where did we watch this on? Tubi. And I've seen it on Shudder at times, so I'm guessing it'll be one that will, come back from time to time. I think Shudder sort of, does seasonally, like it'll pop back up hopefully soon. And I would love to see Joe Bob's take on this one.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Wow.
Interview those guys. I would love to hear their take on it, but
Joe Bob would share so much cool information about it. But speaking of cool information, what do you have about this movie, Tad?
There's a lot on this one, and I mentioned a little bit about the directors being from 5secondfilms.com, but I had to figure out why Larry King was in this, and he was cast after he expressed interest in being killed in a feature film while actually interviewing the 5 Second Films group. So he was interviewing them on his show and was like, "I'd like to die in a movie," and they made it happen. Nice. And then the other fact I found that was interesting: the filmmaker set a goal to try to break the record for most kills in a slasher movie. The record was previously held by The Summer of Massacre from 2012, which had a body count of 155. So apparently this beat that. But
are they cheating by counting the fact that the fraternity wiped out an entire town with a flood?
I'm guessing so. Yeah, I don't know.
Or squash the orphanage.
We need to get Brett and Tony Gang on this one because they do the body count. So if they want to watch this and figure out exactly the number, I recommend they check this out. And this would be a fun one for them to do too.
Oh yeah.
I love it when they're in the lake and they're obviously in standing water, and yet when that body falls into it and it just sinks until you get to the destroyed town.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a part where they're outside and they're supposed to be in a forest, but it's clearly a bunch of fake Christmas trees. They just filmed it in someone's. I think I read they filmed it in someone's backyard, and they just grabbed a bunch of discarded Christmas trees and some fake ones, and just put them out in the yard, and that's the forest now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so awesome. Sweet, awesome. Was that it for trivia?
That's it for trivia.
All right. Well. And that is all for your initiation into the Killer Podcast fraternity. Sorry you didn't make it in, but don't worry. There is still more Attack of the Killer Podcast to come. We're going to take a quick break so you can hear a promo from our podcast network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. Did you know there's 31 shows on the network? It's got such cool shows as The Movie Defenders. That's right. The Movie Defenders is a podcast which discusses the positive aspects of popular movies. Most movie review podcasts spend the entire time tearing down the movies you love instead of celebrating them. Well, the Movie Defenders take popular movies that have been ridiculed by critics and defend them. Hence the title, Movie Defenders. Listen to the fun discussions of the movies you love, or perhaps reconsider a movie again that you didn't like as much as you wish you did. If you like movies, you found the only podcast with movie reviews that loves them as much as you do.
They're good bros.
That's right. They are really good bros. They're good bros. So check out the Movie Defenders and all the other shows at thepfbn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show, and now it's time to hear from you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for
Shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite bro horror movies, bro? And we had some answers right off the bat. Brian Clark, what, dare I ask, is a bro horror movie?
Bro.
If
And that's
you're
what
listening right now, Brian.
There's like
now
10
you know.
people who say. Tim Leonard says, possibly one that the Tracksuit Goons liked. And then he put a picture. And then Jonathan says, come on, bro. And Tad says, a real answer. Oh, I think frat bros, clubs, societies, any kind of douchebags. And John says, yeah, dudes being bros. That's all. He just want to know. Oh, okay. Abe's attacker Abe says the Jersey Shore is pretty horrific and very bro, but probably not what you were going for. Brian Clark comes back with an answer. Ghoulies go to college.
Ooh, good one. Yeah.
Up next, we got Attacker Brett Royer. He says, Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
Yeah, woo.
And Derek Wyrather says, that was my answer.
Yeah. Woo.
Good answer.
Definitely. And then Lisa from the Bad Movie Bunny podcast on the PFPN. She says, I'm going to go with Terror Train. The frat boys got theirs as the Catalyst prank was pretty foul.
Talk about some dickhead frat boys in that one. Jesus.
Yeah.
Good answer.
And then lastly, we got Tim Lenerer. He says, maybe Bruiser. It's certainly the most brotastic thing George Romero ever did, and its politics haven't aged nearly as well as pretty much anything else that Romero directed. Nice to see Jason Fleming get a lead role that just blank face mask is pretty striking. It is really striking. I like that. What, Mike? You have comments. You have things to say. You're making faces over there about Bruiser.
I'm not sure what he's meaning by that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, calling Bruiser a bro movie?
Bro, come on.
Because Bruiser's awesome.
Well, yeah, that's what Tim just said.
Okay.
We don't have
making
it.
sure.
That's over in our Facebook group. If you guys listen and you haven't joined up on our Facebook group, get in there. That's where all the fun stuff is. Tad's always giving us news, and I'm always reposting it months later. And it's a lot of fun. It's a cool place to be.
One time, one trailer. I just had to give you a hard time.
It's what you do, bro.
It's hard.
Cool.
It's hard for it's hard for anybody to get one in on me because I'm always posting the minute shit post. So
it is true. So yeah, stay current with your horror news in the Attack of the Killer podcast group on Facebook. We didn't have anything on Twitter or Instagram, but the phone is ringing.
Hello. Hey everybody, it's Hacker Brian here. Sounds like we're doing bro horror this week. And when we talk bro horror, we got to talk about The Battery. 2 baseball player bros fighting off zombies. And then go a little different direction because I think this is bro horror 2. We go Goodnight Mommy because they are bros. They're actually brothers, but yeah, that's bros. Hope you guys all have a good week. Take it easy. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Godzilla.
Hello, Attacker Bros. This is Aaron Reese from the Campfire Indoctrination podcast. My favorite bro movie has to be the grease-muscled, rippling bicep goodness of the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers film Predator. Hey, bro, mind if I work in? Ah, feel the burn.
Yeah, that's right. And you too can leave us a voicemail. Just give us a call and we'll put you on the show. Just like Brian, you can call us at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. Leave that voicemail. We'll play it on the show. That was Shout-Outs.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome, Mike.
I've always believed that having an artistic outlet, such as painting, podcasting, or even acting, is good for your mental health. Our next segment proves me wrong. Here's Recasting with Christian Slater.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to another episode of Recasting with Christian Slater. Due to scheduling conflicts and situations beyond our control, we're back after a long hiatus. Since this show appeals to the lowest level of primates and we only show up at the most inopportune time, you can pretty much consider us the herpes of the Prescribed Films Network, a virus that never goes away. I'm also talking to you, Busey.
Touche, Slater. You got me dead to rights.
This week, we're going to be punching our way through the Mullet Fest 1989 film Roadhouse. Reading the role of the sharing husband as the worldwide leader of the terrorist organization Cobra. Cobra Command. CC, I think you might know the original actor who played the sharing husband's name. His name was Chris Latta.
Sharing? Sharing? When have you ever known me to share? Although I did give the Dreadnoks a night with the Baroness for the stash of chemical weapons, and who the fuck is Chris Latta?
It's funny, he could just almost say the same thing about you. Reading for the role of the drunk gawker and half in the bag since he insists on realism is our method reader, Bullwinkle Moose. Bullsy, you gonna make it? Huh? Are you ready to read? Me? Oh, shit, yeah. Great. Sit down before you fall down, will you? Reading the title role of Dalton is series mainstay Don Knotts. You ready to clean up the double deuce, Donnie?
Does that mean I get to bone Kelly Lynch up against a barn wall?
As horrifying a visual as that is, I don't think it's in the budget, but you're welcome to ask.
I've done it in the barn. It just wasn't with Kelly Lynch. Or a female, or
You don't finish the fucking sentence. Reading for the role of grizzled bouncer Wade Garrett, and obviously from another planet, is our resident psychopath, Gary Busey.
You know, I've been prepping for this for a while now. I recently went into a bar and got into a couple of fights.
That's not a surprise, however, you neglected to mention that it was a coffee house.
Still counts.
You knocked out a guy reading slam poetry.
Fucker in the beret deserved it.
Forget it. Let's get going. CC and Bullsy, you're up. Interior double deuce bar night. Rowdy patrons smash bottles and yell. A band cranks out blues on a soundstage wrapped in chicken wire. Pool players duke it out in the background as bouncers trying to separate them. A couple tables away from the stage, a heavy-set husband across from a blonde bombshell of a woman. Two men gawk at the woman from a table nearby. The husband notices the men looking at her.
Ever seen a better pair of attitudes?
The husband reaches across the table and feels the woman's breasts. The two men look at one another, laugh, and nod accordingly.
Fine, ain't they? I'll tell you what. For $20, you can kiss them.
The gawker is shocked and delighted.
Are you kidding? I'd let you kiss mine for $5 apiece.
God damn it, Gary. Wait for your fucking scene, will you?
I ain't talking about my titties either.
Jesus Christ, get back to the script.
10 a kiss, here and now.
The gawker walks over to the table as the husband circles his wife. The gawker takes a seat as the woman pulls her breasts out. He begins to fondle them. The husband is excited.
10 a kiss, go ahead.
Moments pass and the gawker continues to fondle the woman. The husband looks at him confused.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing? You gonna kiss him or not?
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
I ain't got $20.
Enraged, the husband yanks the gawker away and backhands him across the face.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Cobra Command, what are you doing? You're not supposed to really hit him.
Hey, he wants method, I'll give him method.
The scuffle leads into a bar fight. Let's move on to our next scene and hope Bullseye is too drunk to remember that. Excuse me for a second. Interior, cafe, early morning, day. Customers eat breakfast and drink coffee as Dalton nurses a beer in a booth near a window. Wade Garrett shimmies into the seat across from Dalton as he watches Doc walk towards the restroom.
That girl's got entirely too many brains to have an ass like that. You got your hands full, kid.
Wade notices Dalton looking down at the floor, morose.
What's the matter?
Dalton merely shrugs and flashes a fake smile.
Still living in the past, ain't you? We're a long way from Memphis.
Memphis has got nothing to do with it.
Bullshit. That dog won't hunt. I can't believe you're still dragging that shit around with you. Seems to me you'd be a little bit more philosophical about it. And cut it the fuck loose.
Shook up, Dalton looks at Garrett as he leans across the table towards him.
You know, that fucking that girl never told you she was married, did she? And when a man sticks a gun in your face, you got two choices. You can die or you can kill the motherfucker. In fact, that's pretty much how I make my life choices.
Here we go. Can't have anything nice, can we?
For instance, when I go through a drive-thru, I either tell them my order or I'll kill the motherfucker. I'm pretty sure I'm wanted in at least 5 states right now.
Wait a minute, you're telling me if a Jehovah's Witness comes to my door, I can either take the pamphlet or I can kill the motherfucker?
Exactly, now you're getting it.
No, don't it. Okay, I somewhat see your point. Unfortunately, and fortunately, we're out of time. And now I see that I had two choices when it came to taking this show, and I should have chose the latter. Until next time, folks, Christian Slater signing out. And we are going to conclude our coverage on Herschel Gordon Lewis with part 3 right now. So as we enter the 1970s, Herschel Gordon Lewis would slow down his output and it would all come to an end. See, in the 1960s, he made 25 movies, but in the 1970s, he only made 5. That's when he began to realize that it was getting harder and harder to compete with Hollywood as they were beginning to do films within kind of Herschel Gordon Lewis's formula. That didn't mean that Lewis didn't make some of his best work during this time with the films such as Miss Niffitt's Zappin' in 1970. Miss Niffitt's is a sketch comedy movie trying to cash in on the popularity of the show Laugh-In at that time. That same year, he returned to the gore film with his classic Wizard of Gore. In 1971, he made This Stuff'll Kill Ya, You're the Yahoo, and Black Love. 1972, Herschel Gordon Lewis made his last film from this time period, but he went out with a bloody bang with the awesome Gore Girls. After the Gore Girls, he decided to leave the filmmaking industry to work in copywriting and direct marketing, which he ended up publishing several books in the 1980s. He is well known in the direct marketing as one of the most successful direct response copywriters. By the late 1970s, his films would start to kind of fall into obscurity, that is until the video cassette boom of the early 80s. When companies such as Continental Video, among others, would release Lewis's gore films with beautiful, gory box covers that stood out on the video store shelves, introducing a new generation, such as myself, to Herschel Gordon Lewis. While weirdos like me were renting and learning about the films of
Herschel Gordon Lewis, he was working in advertising and would write and publish over 20 different books during his long advertising career, including such books as The Businessman's Guide to Advertising and Sales Promotions in 1974. And How to Handle Your Own Public Relations in 1977. He continued to publish books well into the 1990s. Herschel Gordon Lewis settled in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and founded his own advertising company, a full-service direct marketing agency with clients throughout the world. Over the next decade and the DVD boom, Lewis's fan base would grow and grow to the point that Herschel himself would return to filmmaking. In 2002, Herschel Gordon Lewis made his first film in 30 years with the sequel to Blood Feast 2, All You Can Eat. It was produced and released by Media Blasters, the DVD label, and that movie is freaking awesome. In 2009, Lewis released The Uh-Oh Show, a film about a television game show where the contestants are dismembered for each wrong answer. In 2009, Lewis wrote a book titled The Godfather of Gore Speaks. Herschel Gordon Lewis discusses his films with co-writer Andrew Rausch. 2016, Arrow Video released a 17-disc box set titled The Herschel Gordon Lewis Feast, including 14 of Lewis's most essential films, including 9 Blu-ray world release films. Sadly, though, Herschel Gordon Lewis passed away September 26, 2016 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the age of 90. I'm personally sad I've never got to meet the man whose films and filmmaking style meant a lot to me and helped me mold into my own filmmaking career. Herschel Gordon Lewis is a man whose impact on independent filmmaking can still be felt to this day. He is such a legend in Insane's Picks Hall of Fame that it took 3 episodes to induct him. So that is it for Herschel Gordon Lewis as we induct him into Insane's Picks Hall of Fame.
Yeah, about time.
That's right. And that I just want to say that I love how, well, I love and I'm sad at the same time, but that poor Bullwinkle Moose is really fallen down the rabbit hole with his association with that crew. He started off so sweet and innocent, and now he's doing episodes drunk. Anyway, that is it for this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. I want to thank you all for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode while you are working all night on your term paper that's due tomorrow, which you should have gotten done earlier, but you went to that Kager last night instead of getting an early start. Oh, well, you can always switch majors to podcasting. It worked out for us. So we'll talk to you all again on the next episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. Bye, guys.
Oh no!
Bye, bros.
This will be the end of...